Hey guys, I just wanted to take a second to record a message to say that I know that this is an incredibly hard, complicated, scary, uncertain time for almost all of you. I've been on the phone with small businesses all over the world for the majority of the last couple weeks, trying to figure out, what we can best do to get all of us through this. And I just want to give you a couple of thoughts to try to help us get through this together. The first is that this will pass. It's not going to pass easily. It might not pass as quickly as we want, but there is a version of life on the other side of this. So as much as is humanly possible, prioritize your health, your family's health. Think of this as a moment to sort of pause and reflect in the language of SLAP. And if at all possible, let's all just remember that the greater good is safety and coming together. That's the number one thing that we all need to be thinking about. Now, the repercussions on small business because of coronavirus are indescribable. There are not really enough words in the dictionary to properly articulate how hard this is. I know that the majority of you are essentially seeing your revenue just dry up overnight. So there's a couple of things that we just want to help you with. The first is, your cash is going to matter the most right now. There's a stat that JP Morgan released that essentially says the average small business has less than 27 days of cash on hand at any given time. So if you are in that category where you literally have no cash, don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed. It's just the way it is. That is the truth for the majority of small businesses, and you're not alone. So what we need to do is figure out how to, number one, protect the cash that you have like crazy, and two, try to find any creative way to get cash into your bank account. In terms of protecting the cash that you have, you want to do a couple of things. You want to try to cut expenses as much as possible. Let's talk about your staff in a second, but you want to cut expenses. If you have subscriptions, memberships, things that you're paying that you just don't need right now, pause all of them. Just try to cut your expenses as much as possible. If you have utilities, if you essentially have things that you pay big businesses, they are going to be okay. And we might not be. And so what we need to do is sort of leverage the resources of big businesses right now to protect our small businesses. Don't be ashamed to call your utility companies, your landlords, and just say that you need, waiving of fees at the very, very, very most, and at the very, very, very least, affirmative payments. One of the things that I've seen small businesses doing is asking to defer payments just by a month or two. We don't know how long this is going to last. And so my best advice would be to ask for the longest possible extension to either defer or waive payments. A minimum ask for 3 months, if not ideally 6, because it's going to take us time to come out of this, and then it's going to take us even more time to fully rebound. So you want to, utilize every single resource at your disposal to push payments out as far as possible, or ideally to actually get payments waived while we're in the middle of this crisis. So manage your cash, cut expenses, defer payments, and just do every single thing in your power to protect the cash that you have so that you increase the amount of time that you can ride this out. The second thing is there is still opportunities to generate revenue. We see all sorts of really interesting innovation happening, right? We see people selling gift certificates. We people, restaurants obviously still doing delivery and takeaway. There are still ways to sell. There are sort of 3 categories of businesses that I'm starting to see. There's the category of businesses that are just truly shut down. You can't do what you do, right? So if you're maybe in the hospitality industry, or if you're in the tourism industry, or if you own a spa, you can't do what you do. But you might be able to sell gift certificates, sell packages, ask your customers to pay now and use later. And so there are ways, even in you who are fully shut down, to try to generate revenue. There's a category of businesses that are sort of still chugging along. Maybe you're a service provider and you have to deliver your services via video conferencing instead of, in person. But you are going to feel the effects of a major slowdown in the economy, but you can still do business, right? For you, you just want to keep, negotiating payment terms, trying to do a lot of business development, asking people to pay, maybe a stronger percentage up front, securing any and all contracts that you can, creating confidence in your customers that you're still in business and you can keep delivering. Maybe adjusting who you're selling to businesses that are still in business because the product or the service that they deliver is needed in the midst of this pandemic. But if you're in business, don't take the pedal off the metal, right? This is the moment to actually be more strategic, be more intentional, and keep selling as much as you can to keep going in the midst of this really very odd time. There's another category of businesses, and I would want you to think if you can find yourself in this category, where innovation is actually possible. There's all these really cool examples of, small distilleries all over the world who are now making hand sanitizer instead of spirits because there's a demand for it and their facilities actually work for that. And so in normal days, right, we are clearly not in normal days, but in normal days, I would say to a small business, don't change what you do. Don't change who you do it for. Stay strong and stay strategic. In the midst of this really weird moment where we are in a, once in a century life-altering sort of moment and pandemic, you might want to do a temporary adjustment of your SLAP statement. Do you have assets, resources, skill sets that are uniquely suited to somehow solve a need that we have in this moment? That doesn't mean that that's what your business does forever, but you might be able to come up with a short-term strategy that allows you to use what you have to generate revenue. If that's the case, step back, think about it, and get into action quickly. Through all of this, what I think is true is if we let this can break us. I get it. This has been a super intense couple of weeks, and I think we probably need to settle in for this dragging out for a while longer than we all want. But the other side of it, the silver lining, if I may, the silver lining is that this is an opportunity for us to all step back, to really, truly pause and reflect, to ask what really matters, to ask what we really care about, to ask what we feel really called to deliver in the world, to think about, where our business should go strategically post coronavirus, and to really settle into what we want to do in the world. And so, we need to reduce the crazy, crazy, crazy stress that cash flow is going to inevitably cause for all of us by trying to protect your cash and generate any and all income you can. But I also really do encourage you, this is a moment of pause bestowed upon us. We don't want it, but as business owners, we don't ever have time to pause. We run like crazy. And so let's take this moment. Let's get strategic. Let's not just panic, but let's be focused, disciplined, and on it. At Silver Lining, we talk a lot about the cash flow capacity catch-22, which is that we don't have enough time, to create the money that we want. We don't have enough money to create the time that we want. And we sort of live in this cycle of feeling like we never have enough time and we never have enough money. We now have a third C that's been added. We've got the cash flow and capacity challenge, but now we're adding a crisis on top of that. And so it is, as we teach, when you're in cash flow capacity catch-22, the number one way to get out is to be strategic and focused and to manage the reality of the time and money that you have. As we add this third C in, this crisis C, it doesn't mean that we should panic more. It actually means that the same things we need to do in cash flow capacity catch-22 are actually even more necessary. We need to keep our emotions low. We need to be focused. We need to be clear thinking and clear-headed. We need to be strategic, and we need to move forward with intention. And so this is our moment to step up into the best versions of ourselves to get through what is going to be probably one of the hardest moments in our entrepreneurial journeys, but it could give us opportunity. And in every crisis, we have a choice. We can succumb to it, or we can be better for it. And I want us to get better for it together. Now, the last couple of things I'll just say is, one, a public service announcement. You're going to hear lots and lots and lots of information from the government about stimulus packages, and that's in every country around the world. What we don't need right now as small businesses is loans. The last thing that you need after this crazy disruption of your business is a big loan that you have to pay off when we come out of this. We need to be advocating as a group of small businesses for grants, federal, state or provincial and city money that is given as grants to small businesses to stay alive. If you care about that, start calling local representatives, call anyone you can, but we need small businesses to be bailed out, right? We bailed out the big companies in 2008. We've got to bail out the small businesses right now, and we don't need loans. We need grants. So take action, start asking for what you need, and what you need is money to help you get through this so that you can continue to do the incredible work that you do for your teams, your communities, and our economy. That's number one. Number two, we've launched a campaign called Buy from Small Business. The website is buyfromsmallbusiness.com. We're going to be issuing challenges to the general public to keep buying from you. So share Buy from Small Business far and wide. We're going to hopefully galvanize people to do everything in their power to keep spending money with you guys, small businesses. But also on that website, we created 3 pages just for you, small business owners. There's a page called Keep Selling, full of ideas for how you keep generating revenue. There's a page called Survive, which is just practical tips, tricks, and then actually links to resources to manage your cash, find loans and grants, and manage your team in this really complicated moment. And then there's a section which I really love called Strong Mindset, and it's just full of different ideas and resources and tools and playlists and messages to keep strong, keep your head in check, keep a strong SLAP mindset so that you can handle this really hard moment that we're in. Lastly, and most importantly, we've announced that SLAP is pay what you can. So if you need help, we all need help. So that's not an if. You do need help. I need help. We all need help. If you're ready to actually get some support around you, SLAP is fully virtual. We built it not thinking of coronavirus, but somehow it's perfect for coronavirus. From your home as you're social distancing and self-isolating, you can get SLAP at whatever amount you can pay right now. If your business has already been heavily impacted, we get it. Name an amount. SLAP is usually $300 a month. And until we're through the crisis, it is fully available to you to help you strategize what you do, to go through sort of a COVID crisis checklist to get your business in check, to think about what strategies you can implement to generate revenue in the next 90 days or the next 90 days after that, and to essentially hold how you handle this crisis in the short term while still holding on to your strategy long-term for your business. You get all of the benefits of SLAP, including the online tool, monthly strategy calls, regular accountability calls, access to all of our training and our resources and the community of other small business owners. So don't be in this alone. We are doing everything we can to be here for you, and it would honestly be our honor and our pleasure to be with you in this journey, because we will get out of it. You know, obviously the name of Silver Lining is positive and optimistic. And I am both very realistic about what we're going through and the unspeakable and dramatic impact that it's having on all of you. I'm actually going to cry just thinking about how hard this is for so many of you and how so many people I care about are really struggling right now. But what I know is that if there is anything that is true about entrepreneurs and business owners, is that we are tough, we are tenacious, we are problem solvers, and it is those things that will get you all through this. So stay strong, access support, get help, be in it together, and we will be better for it.